This is the TriSwimCoach Podcast, where the most difficult leg of the triathlon becomes your friend, leaving your struggles and your competition behind you. TriSwimCoach.com, helping you to laugh at the water.
Welcome back to Tri Swim Coach. This is Kevin, and this is episode number 112. So thanks for joining today. I'm flying solo for this episode. I'm going to be talking about the rules for triathlon swimming, and I'll talk about what that is in just a second. I'm doing sort of a redesign of TriSwimCoach.com and a rebranding in a way of the site, although most of the information is sort of the same, but we're just adding in a lot of the stuff that we talk about a lot, but is not on the site. So it's going to look a little bit different. The whole site is actually going to look quite different. And one of the things that we're going to be adding to the site, which is really exciting, is a Tri Swim Manifesto. So it's sort of like we're calling it our rules. And I've been going through and creating these rules for TriSwimCoach, and I thought I'd do a podcast on it. And actually, I'm going to make this a two-part show. So this is going to be part one of two. And we have 8 rules, and these are basically kind of how we view things. And not just when I say we, I don't just mean like me and Chris and everyone that works for TriSwimCoach. I mean the community of TriSwimCoach. That includes everybody that's listening to the show, everybody that's in our free TriSwim Guppies group, and then all the members that we have. This is our manifesto. So it means that this is kind of what we believe in and what we stand for and what we stand against. So let's start. I'm going to do 4 rules today. I'm going to talk about the first 4, and then next week we'll do the last 4. So rule number 1 is it never gets easier, you just get better. Swimming isn't for anyone. We weren't born swimmers. We were born humans, land animals. We have a lot to overcome to become proficient swimmers. The thing to keep in mind is incremental improvements need to be celebrated. You will have struggles and you will have successes. You will be growing through each of these. Growing as an athlete, growing as a swimmer, and growing as a person. The improvements you make will be a life journey if you let them. So the idea here, the concept is growth. So this is an opportunity for you to grow, and in the 3 different ways. So it's growing as an athlete, as a swimmer, and as a person. So this kind of makes it a little bit of a bigger, overall kind of big picture way of looking at it. And it's something that we really believe in, that if you look at it this way, that you're not just getting a little better at swimming or taking seconds off your times, or, going a little bit faster, beating the person next to you. All those things may be great, but this is, looking at it as a larger picture, as something bigger than you might normally think of it as. So rule number 2 is befriend the water. And this is our motto. Fighting will get you nowhere around here. Acceptance is the best thing you can do. Acceptance of where you are now, acceptance of the water, acceptance of who you are. Now, if you want to get really out there, you could say you're on a quest to become one with the water, but no need to take it to that philosophical level. Just know that water can support you in time once you let go, once you give in to the process. So that is really key to what we're about here, is befriending the water. That's our motto, and that's something we've talked about for years, but it really is made, this is putting it into more words here to explain it. And that's something that most people are not going to get right away. But as you kind of go through the program, go through the drills, go through the workouts, and you go through some of these struggles that you are going to have, then you start to see that the more you are fighting to get something right or fighting to get to the next level, the harder things become. So this is such a key thing to keep in mind, is befriending the water and let go. I mean, that's the most important thing here, is letting go. And you'll start to get it as you go through this, no matter what level you are. This isn't like just aimed at beginners. I mean, this is definitely great for beginners to know, because you will have a lot more struggles or a lot more difficulties early on with kind of getting that feel for the water. People talk about the feel for the water. And that is so important to get over that hump. That's the crucial part, is when you kind of start to get the feel for the water. Like, it may take you weeks, may take you months, but it's going to come. And then pretty soon you'll feel like it feels kind of weird when you're out of the water for a while and then you get back in, and then you notice that like you're not feeling the water so much. It's like a weird, it's a strange environment. environment that you're not used to. So that makes things more difficult. So that was rule number 2, is befriend the water. Now, rule number 3, your background doesn't matter. It's where you are going that's important. Most of the crew around here did not come from a swimming background, but rather learned swimming or got good at it later in life. It doesn't matter if you are brand new to swimming, were state champion in high school, or want to place in the top 52% of your age group this year. All goals are valid, all ability levels are welcome, and every accomplishment is respected. We, the coaches, will help you figure out what is going on and what you need to work on in the present. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, a chance to start over, a chance to become a better version of yourself. And that goes back to the growth that I talked about with rule number 1. It's always a path of growth here. And it's, the one thing that we hear a lot is that I'm a poor swimmer, I'm a horrible swimmer, I'm the worst, I'm terrible and I'm last and all that kind of stuff. So that's where we want to change that mindset and, really support each other, support yourself with kind of what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish here. And understand that each day, each time that you attempt this, each time that you get in the water, it is a new chance to start over and start improving and really become, like I said, become a better version of yourself. So that could mean that you just got a drill 2% better than you did the day before. That could mean that you took 1 second off your average 50 times, or you took 1 stroke off of your 25 meters or something like that. Like, it could be any kind of improvement, and we want to celebrate those victories. So rule number 4 is we learn swimming as naturally as possible and are open to better ways of doing things. We put swim form first, before distance, before speed, before time, before anything else. We know that compromising on form is taking a chance on our future. We're not a huge fan of lots of equipment. You won't find many sets involving kickboards unless the purpose is to screw around. We don't do much with pull buoys. But we have taken the best from top coaches of distance swimmers and triathletes around the world to teach the TriSwimCoach Swift Stroke method. We keep an open mind and learn from others. From time to time, swimming changes, and we change with it. We're never married to an idea. If there's a better one out there, we are game. So this kind of puts a lot of our philosophy into this one rule, but it's basically like we're kind of stripping things down to the core essentials, and that's the idea of swimming as naturally as possible. So we don't like the equipment as much. There's some great equipment out there, so this doesn't mean no equipment ever. There's some things you can do, and kickboards, I like to use them once in a while just for something fun and different. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're helping your swim get better, but maybe, as a break in the middle of your workout, you want to chat with your neighbor, or chat with your friend, grab a kickboard and just do a few, do 100 or 200 kick. That's a good use of a kickboard. But, like the pull buoys, there's some uses for pull buoys, and we've talked about that, but not for most people that are doing triathlons, no matter what level you are. There's really not a lot that I like to use pull buoys for, but there are a few things at more of the advanced level. But I like to stay away from them in the early stages because it kind of gives you that artificial feeling of being on top of the water when you need to sort of work for that instead. And then there's some other equipment, I like the snorkels, and I definitely like the fins. The fins are a great tool. But basically what we're trying to do here is say, look, this is something that can be, there's a lot of things you can work on that doesn't involve equipment. And we're open to any of the new ideas that come along for swim technique. So, when I started TriSwimCoach in 2004, there was a lot of things that actually have changed since. Well, maybe not a lot, but there are things that have changed with stroke technique. And I could tell you some examples of that. I used to teach more, like head position is one example. I used to teach more that you have to look straight down at the bottom of the pool. Now, what I've learned is that it's okay to look there's sort of an individualized approach. It's not necessarily that everyone should look straight down. You can look up a little bit. You want to avoid looking straight forward, but the idea of it has to be one way has changed. And then things like the pull. Like I used to actually almost ignore the pull towards the beginning. I thought, well, everything that I learned about swimming, it's all about body rotation and balance, and the pull is kind of secondary. Well, we've kind of changed that over the last few years. It's been really an emphasis on the pull. And not that those other things aren't important too. We actually emphasize those first and foremost, but then we get into the pull, and that is super important, using that high elbow pull. So anyway, that's our first 4 rules here of our Tri Swim Manifesto. And we have 4 more. I'm going to be talking about those next week on the podcast. So stay tuned for that. And if you like our show, I'd love it if you could give us a rating and review on iTunes. Just go to your iTunes on your desktop or laptop computer and open up and search for Tri Swim Coach or Triathlon Podcast. You'll see us there, and go ahead and put your rating and review in. I'd love to hear that, and we'll read it on the next show. So I hope everything's going well out there. Thanks for listening. Go out there and have a great week of training, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode covering swimming and triathlon mastery. To get your free online swim clinic, just go to TriSwimLessons.com. Give us your name and email, and we'll have session number 1 off to you right away. Begin your process of befriending the swim and laughing at the water now.